Welcome to Stories I Didn't Get to Tell Last Sunday. Hey, I'm Doug McAllister. This is the weekly podcast from Journey Fellowship Church, and we are excited that you joined us today. Pastor Tanya Camper is here, and Pastor Al Charche are with me, and today we're going to be talking about hurricanes. So if you haven't watched the podcast before, there is a playlist. You can go back and catch up on some. This is, I think, is this 17, Kate, or 18? What are we on? 22. Oh, we're on 22.
Wow.
22 weeks in a row, man. We are on a roll.
Killing it.
We're like the Joe Rogan of church podcasts, man.
Maybe.
Well, today we are talking about hurricanes. We just came out of a hurricane, and this morning I was reading in Genesis about Noah's flood. You know, and Jesus said that as it was in the days of Noah, so will it also be in the days of the coming of the Son of Man. So kind of piqued my interest about the flood. So I went back into Genesis reading the story. And this one verse really jumped out at me. Genesis 7:4. 7 days from now, the Lord told Noah, I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. That is it's a powerful statement that sometimes God uses the forces of nature just to give us a fresh start. I don't really like the fresh starts the way they come, but they're always great once they're there. You know, and of course we all grew up in South Louisiana. You guys are both Louisiana natives. Are you from Louisiana? Well, I thought you were from California.
Born in New Orleans.
Why'd you go to California?
Just kind of work, took my dad out there.
So you left Louisiana
we lived there for about 5 years.
But you were born and grew up mostly in Louisiana, yes. And I know you did too, Al.
Yep.
Where'd you grow up?
New Orleans, and then in St. Bernard.
Yeah, so you were...
First 10, 11 years we were in New Orleans, lived in the 9th Ward, right around the corner from J9.
No way. What street were you on?
Literally 2 streets away on French Street. So.
Oh my gosh! So Alvar is on. Yeah, you're like 2 blocks from.
Well, so my mom and my uncle went to that church when they were little kids.
How did we not ever hear that before?
Yeah, we grew up in that neighborhood. My whole family's from that neighborhood.
Why didn't you tell us that story before?
Yeah.
Maybe you're not remembering.
Maybe he did, and we don't remember it very well.
I wasn't gonna say anything about your age.
Just stop right there, okay?
Yeah, you didn't get to hear it earlier, but Pastor Tanya was criticizing everybody at the table in circular motion before we got started, just to build us up to have a good podcast. So, Al, you grew up
That is not.
That's exactly what happened. That is exactly what happened.
They can. You guys have a way of twisting everything that I say and making it. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Well,
Lord help me.
We know it's true, so we'll move on. You grew up in the 9th Ward.
I did. Yep.
Yeah.
So we lived there. My family. That's where my dad's family's from. My mom's family is from there, and my grandpa owned a few houses there. We have a family member who owned the corner store. So we were doing outreaches in J9 in that parking lot across the street that I walked to as a little kid with my dad and everything. So
that's amazing, man. I didn't realize you were a 9th Ward boy.
Yeah, and then we moved to Chalmette. We lived in Chalmette for 2 or 3 years, and then moved way down into Lower St. Bernard.
That's where your grandparents were, in Chalmette. Yeah, I remember you telling me about them.
Yeah, so my grandpa's house was in Chalmette when Katrina hit. My dad's house was in Araby. My dad still lives in Araby. Yeah. And then my wife and I.
Did he lose his house completely?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Is your old house still in the 9th Ward, or is it gone?
No, the house is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the house is definitely still there. But, I don't really go around that area too much anymore. So.
Right. Well, back in 2009 or 10, we actually bought that old church building there. Right. At one time, was it Lutheran?
I think so.
It was a Lutheran building that the church had closed many years before. So we bought a vacant building, totally gutted, remodeled it, and turned it into a Journey campus. And we were there for like 6 years.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was your neighborhood. Didn't Brad Pitt build some houses there later?
Not far from there.
Yeah, it was in that area.
Yeah. Have I told you my Brad Pitt story?
Which one?
All right, so I'm in China. This really happened, as opposed to other things that I make up that didn't happen. This really happened.
You embellish.
This really
for true
stories.
I call it story writing license. Is what I call it. Yeah, you have a license. Yeah, literary latitude. So anyway, I was in China, and I took a taxi from to the hotel to the meeting that we were going to for the teaching that night. And I get out of the taxi at the at the venue, and there's people walking on the street. And when I got out, I was the only American there, the only white person there. So I got out of the taxi, stood up, and there was a group of probably college-age girls waiting to get a taxi. And one of them said, "There's Brad Pitt."
Oh, I'm sorry for laughing.
I know, right? I looked around. I was like, "Where's Brad Pitt?"
Where?
And I looked like they were all looking at me. And finally, she said, "Are you Brad Pitt?" I said, "Well, I look a lot like him." So
Get that often. It's a common occurrence.
man, I preached that night like I was Brad Pitt.
I didn't even know Brad Pitt could preach.
I didn't either. Yeah, I felt like a Brad Pitt, you know. But anyway, so Brad Pitt built houses down there after.
Yeah, I think that company's being sued now for how crappy they were done.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well, that worked out good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lasted for a while.
Yeah.
13
Yeah,
years.
so you grew up in the Ninth Ward, moved over to Chalmette. Any hurricane stories from New Orleans?
So we lived in Chalmette just for a couple of years, and then we moved way down to Lower St. Bernard. So Wyclosky, Shell Beach, Reggio, Florissant, that general area. Some people may know one or two of those names.
Right.
Delacroix, I think I said. It's a lot of fish. It's a big fishing community.
A lot of good fishing in Delacroix, man.
Yeah, so everybody down there, most everybody down there were commercial fishermen and things like that.
Right.
My dad was heating and air conditioning, so he would typically do a lot of work for the Robins or Callies or different people like that down there by fixing their walk-in coolers, and then they would pay us with like a sack of oysters or or some shrimp or what, you know what I'm saying?
Like frontier New Orleans, man.
Yeah,
It was
good. It was nice growing up down there.
Yeah.
But the bad part about growing up down there is hurricanes, because you're outside of the levee protection system.
What did you do with a sack of oysters? That's a lot of oysters.
You shuck them,
I
and
know.
then you freeze them.
Yeah.
The
That's
extra.
a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
Were you fast at shucking oysters?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I was a kid, and you know.
And you really didn't want to do it anyway.
No,
so
I ate them. I loved them. I still love
I'm
them.
not talking
But
about the eating part.
My dad showed me how to shuck them, but he could do them fast. It'd take me like a half an hour to get it open, and then the slimy. It's a whole experience, man. You know. Yeah.
So the house that we were living in down there, it was a 2-story. It was a raised house. On Pollins, and then the guy decided that he was going to close it in and make it a 2-story house. So he cut the pilings off and then closed in the downstairs portion of the house. But that's how we knew whenever a storm was coming. It wasn't necessarily because Bob Breck said so. But water would literally begin to rise from the ground up. So where those pollens were at in the ground, he poured a concrete slab over it. And then after time, the ground settled, and then we had big cracks in the bottom of the house.
Right, and water came through the cracks.
So water would come up through the cracks. So we moved in that house. I think it was like, I want to say 85 or 86. I'd have to go back and look. But Hurricane Juan had come through right when we were only in the house for less than a year. And I think it was like Hurricane Juan in 1986. I think 86.
It's been a long time.
So we had just moved into that house, and Hurricane Juan came through. We were there for less than a year. We had 6 foot of water in the house. I was like, welcome to Lower St. Bernard. Here we are.
Had your own hurricane indicator, man. Maybe the barometric pressure was changing and the water rising.
It would flood
I'm
down
making
there.
all this up. I don't know what any of it means.
The wind would blow.
And the water would rise.
You would have a sustained wind, and for a prolonged period of time, and water would begin to come up. So we could walk out of the back of the house and go about 4 to 5 acres back, and they would duck hunt. They were swamp. We were in the swamp. So walk a few acres back, go hunt, fish, do whatever, and literally walk right back.
Everybody in Louisiana knows this, so it's no revelation. But the water table is literally at ground level here in Louisiana, and when it rains, it's going to flood. It's just the ground's already saturated. The good news is we got plenty of water. We never go thirsty. Sometimes we have more than we can take.
We always had animals in the house. We always it was a whole different experience growing up.
Did y'all ride out the hurricane in the house?
I don't even remember. I know we didn't leave. I know that for sure, but I don't remember evacuating for any storms growing up.
It's crazy how seldom we would evacuate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little kid in the 60s and 70s, and my mom and dad never even talked about evacuating. All they would say is, everybody get under the bed. What's going on? Well, you get into the innermost room because, evacuation was expensive, and we didn't have any money to evacuate. We had to just ride it out, My first memory of a hurricane, I think it was, which one was in the 67, 68, whatever.
Was it Betsy?
Was it Betsy that came through?
Betsy was in 65.
Yeah, that's my first memory. So I was just 3 or 4 years old, and I didn't know what was going on. I just knew everybody was panicking.
Yeah.
Like, something must be up here. I need to stop playing with my Tinker Toys and see what's going on, man, because this is not good. But we did go down to the local elementary school because the governor said it was going to be deadly. So we didn't evacuate out of town. We just went to a better building. So that was in the 60s.
Yeah. I remember Betsy.
Yeah.
Because I was 6 at the time.
Yeah.
And
so you were older than me then.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead. Get
Good
the
at
dig.
math, aren't you?
Realize that. Did that right on the spot, man.
Wow.
All that trig finally paid off. Yeah, in college. So you were 6.
So I was 6.
Yeah.
We lived in East New Orleans on
Yeah.
Ray Avenue.
Yeah.
And
You're from the East? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm finding all kind of stuff out about y'all today, man.
Yeah. So we lived right off of the
Yeah.
Chef Highway.
Yeah.
And so hurricane, the water starts rising.
Betsy.
We had gone to sleep,
Right.
and my dad woke us up, and the water had started rising, and my dad got very concerned about us because we were in the lower part of
Yeah.
it was just bad over there in that
Yeah.
area.
Did y'all evacuate?
No, we did
Just
not.
they rode
We
it out?
stayed. We rode it out.
Yeah.
But when we got to, my dad went outside. My sister was Olive.
Yeah.
Had a rare bone disease.
Yeah.
And so she had had surgery and was in a wheelchair at the time.
Right.
And so she was 8. And so my dad could not get, there were 7 of us
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And so my dad couldn't get us all safely
Yeah.
to high ground.
Yeah.
So my dad went out, being in construction,
Yeah.
built a raft.
No
a
way.
raft.
No way.
Built a raft, and we floated down the street.
You dad's like Noah. What?
And we
My dad
floated
was
down.
Noah.
But while my dad was building the raft, we went across the street to our neighbor's house, who was a couple of feet above her house. Their house
Yeah.
was raised a couple of feet. And so we go across the street. And I can remember jumping their kitchen cabinets from
Yeah.
one side to the other side
Oh, my
because it was
gosh.
just a little narrow. And we were jumping across. We saw the snakes swimming in the water.
No way.
Yeah.
And y'all stayed there the whole time?
No.
Oh.
So my dad built the raft.
Yeah.
They stayed in the house.
That's how they got to California.
On the raft.
They stayed. You're good.
Yeah.
They stayed at their house.
Yeah.
We floated down. My dad had a cousin that lived down the street a few blocks,
Yeah.
and we floated down the street, and we rode the rest of the storm out there until the water's level went. And so my dad's cousin, had a pretty big house, and because of that, a bunch of people came, and I just remember it just being a big party. We had lots of fun.
Right.
The house was filled with kids, and
So what's your dad's first name?
Albert.
So Albert built a raft.
He built a raft
for his whole family.
for his whole family to float down.
That is only
Yeah.
in New Orleans.
Only in New
Story.
Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah, built a raft.
Wow.
Yeah.
Floated down to safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad couldn't build boats, so we were stuck.
Yeah, we stood where we were at.
Yeah.
So, you said, everybody gathered and it was a big party type
Yeah.
thing. That's the memory I have growing up.
Yeah.
Any hurricane was like, we're going to buy extra beer, we're
Yeah.
going to buy some extra booze.
Yeah, my mom would cook like big pots of jambalaya.
Yeah.
Anything you went in the freezer or fridge, she'd cook it all up because you were gonna lose it anyway.
Yeah.
So we'd have food, for days and.
I don't remember
it
the
became a party.
cooking.
Yeah.
I remember the canned potted meats
Oh
and the
my
Vienna
gosh.
sausages.
Yeah, is there a worse food in
Peanut
the world
butter and
than
jelly.
potted meat?
Oh, I love potted meat.
Oh man, could they think of a name for
that
it?
and
I mean, it's
crackers.
such a low. It's just so low on the totem pole. It doesn't even have a name.
That has
At least spam got a name.
Right.
Potted. You know what you call this? It's just potted
You
meat.
gave up.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
like,
even trying anymore.
I'm just too lazy to get this
not
a name.
putting any
This
effort
doesn't-
at
this
all
food
into
doesn't
this
deserve a name. But
I
we did
posted
eat
my
potted
love.
meat.
I posted
did
my
it.
love of potted meat
Yeah.
one year, and
Yeah.
I actually had people give me potted meat.
Well, potted meat has a rich cousin. It's called Underwood deviled chicken. You ever seen it? Underwood deviled ham. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's the same
Uh-huh.
can, same size as potted meat, but they wrap it in a paper wrapping. They put a
it's all
really nice
fancy.
label. It is the same exact stuff. They just charge $1 more a can for it, you know.
We never bought that one.
Yeah, well, we couldn't afford it because it was over $1. You know, back then potted meat was 29 cents.
Oh, it was, I think, probably cheaper than that.
Yeah. I hate to even think about what's in potted meat.
Yeah.
But I do like chicken, Underwood Devil chicken. It's really good.
I don't.
You take 2 slices of white bunny bread, the thin, not the thick.
Oh, bunny bread.
And then you're not gonna like this, but put in a real thick layer of mayo.
Ugh.
Oh my gosh. You don't know the glories of mayonnaise. I'm sorry
No.
that you don't experience that. And then you put a layer of mayo and then a half a can of the chicken spread.
Well,
I don't know. None of this sounds appealing to me.
Oh, my
I like
gosh.
mayo on my sandwich. I'm going to eat mayo with my sandwich,
Yeah.
but I'm not eating anything else
Like-
you just said.
like most
Before
people
we started
do.
recording, you were talking about ribs. Why can't we talk about ribs? You want to talk about
No, let's
potted
go
Talk
meat?
about
Spam.
hurricane food right now.
Spam.
Hurricane food is whatever you have in
Remember the
yeah.
Spam?
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
I hate Spam too.
I hated Spam too, and my dad would fry that, pull it out the can,
Yeah.
slice it,
It was
and then
first
fry
made.
it and make
It
a
was
sandwich
first made
out
for
of it.
soldiers in what, World War I or II.
Sounds like a horrible punishment.
They packaged it. You know, it was like leftover
war and eat Spam.
Because when you hear
I mean,
the
the
can,
can,
it
you had
keeps
to-
the shape of the can with the little gel layer
Yes.
on top, which is kind of
Oh,
disgusting.
so gross.
Yeah. Then you slice it like sandwich size and eat
You
it.
fry it up.
Yeah, those are hurricane memories. You know,
Yes.
Al had 12 packs of
We did.
Bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got
He had
drunk.
orange
You guys were
juice
bringing
there.
out 12 packs of Bud. I mean, you had the 6 packs of
Potted
drunk,
meat
you don't
and
need to eat.
Vienna sausages.
You don't need to
Spam.
eat food when you're drunk.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah, but
And how old were you?
We won't talk about that.
yeah.
Okay, Jesus.
illegal. He was illegal years old. Yeah, yeah. So we all have memories of hurricanes growing up, and it's kind of like
Yeah.
embedded in the, the fabric of our life. It's just like, oh yeah, there's hurricanes coming. And we know from June 1st to is it October 31st or whatever it is.
Something
It's
like
in
that. The end.
October.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like we know that there's going to be 5 months of potential death. And we just kind of we just embrace it and get ready for it.
Take the good with the bad.
Yeah,
What are you
know.
going to do? You're going to move someplace else and eat all their horrible food?
I know, right?
I'm going to stay here in
Stay
the
in
South.
Louisiana and eat the good
I'm
stuff.
having gumbo and
Because
jambalaya,
Before and after
fried
the storm,
fish.
the good food happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Potted meat and Spam is in the storm, but before and after, man, crawfish and oysters and
right.
jambalaya.
Gumbo
and,
and-
you guys ever eat potato salad with your gumbo?
I don't eat mayonnaise, so I don't
That's
eat
sad.
potato
How about
salad.
you?
Oh, don't turn for me like
I
that.
can't look at you right now.
I don't
Oh
put
my-
it
I can't
inside
even
of
look
the
at you.
gumbo.
Yeah.
I don't mind it.
You eat it that way? My mom loves
No,
it
I
that
don't
way. Oh,
eat it
you
that way.
don't?
Yeah, I don't.
I do.
Oh, my
Yeah.
mom. She
I like
takes a
potato
spoon of it.
salad with the gumbo.
Yeah,
My
I don't
mom
have a
does
problem with
too.
it.
I love
just-
your mom.
Oh,
Your
she
mother's
loves you
Zenon, I
too.
love her.
will
Yeah,
tell
she
her.
knows how to do it right.
Yeah, that's just a fancy thing for us. We did. It was,
That's really high class.
yeah, I was like,
That's some rich people.
yeah, we ain't going all that. We're putting that much effort into it.
Okay.
There's both of them. Do what you want with it. Just eat it.
Do you like seafood gumbo or chicken and sausage gumbo?
I'll eat both. I
Yeah?
like both
What's
of
your
them.
favorite? Which one?
Probably seafood.
Yeah, how about you?
I mix mine. I put chicken
In your seafood?
Yeah.
I think that's against the law.
Pretty sure that's a violation.
Yeah,
somewhere.
there's a scripture
I don't
against
know.
that.
People love
have
my
you read, Have you
gumbo.
read the book of Leviticus? That's not even allowed.
Look, let me just tell you, I'm not
You're
under the
allowed
law
to do that.
anymore,
You're not
baby.
allowed to do that. Yeah.
I've been
Hey,
set free.
When I was a little boy, my mom had a neighbor who lived across the street, 2 houses down, and about once a month she would make her own recipe of chicken and sausage gumbo. And when she did, she was an old widow woman. She would make an extra portion for my dad and mom and for her kids, and she'd bring it down to our house. So about once a month, we would have what Mom would call Miss Rosalie's chicken and sausage gumbo. And it was the highlight of the month, man.
Nice.
Hey, Rosalie's bringing her gumbo tomorrow night. Everybody was there waiting for it because it was so good, man. I still have the recipe. I saved it from my mom. It's in one of my documents
next
on my
to your
phone.
pool trophy.
It's what?
Next to your pool trophy.
Well, that's a literal trophy that very few people have. This was like a written recipe, and I still make it from time to time because it's just
Well,
chicken.
share the recipe. I want to
can't.
try
And
it.
Miss Rosalie's, it's
Miss Rosalie is
it's
dead.
trademarked.
She won't even remember.
You don't know. She
She's
may
not-
be really, really old.
She is
right?
in heaven, not
Yeah.
even worried
she
about
may be
that
really
gumbo.
old. I don't
Yeah.
know. She may not want you to have her recipe. She gave it to
She
me.
would like me,
gave it
and
to
she
me.
would want me to have
Oh my
that
gosh.
recipe.
I love potato salad in my gumbo.
Yeah,
It's
my
just so
mom
good.
does
Some
too.
people hate it. They think
My
it's
mom
disgusting.
loves it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are the great foods we ate. So your first memory was Hurricane Betsy.
Betsy, yes.
Yours is Juan.
Hurricane Juan.
Yeah. Mine was Betsy also, even though I was much
That's
younger
because
than
we're
you.
so the same age,
Well,
right?
I was so much
what?
younger than you, but
Yeah.
I remember as a little boy, we evacuated to school. And there's hurricanes all along the stories of our lives.
Yeah.
A hurricane played a central role in Journey's development. In 2005,
Right.
Hurricane Katrina, Category 5, came right up the mouth of the Mississippi River. And it was that once in 100-year storm that we all lived through, and we knew when it hit 5, which is the top category. After 5, then they stopped measuring it because it's considered lethal. Then, you can't get any worse than 5, even though the winds could be higher. But it made a beeline up the Mississippi River and went right over the city of New Orleans, crossed over Pontchartrain, the lake here, and then hit Slidell.
With a vengeance.
Direct hit.
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of the government satellite photos of the weight of the wall of water coming off Pontchartrain. It's like a Steven Spielberg movie. It's just unbelievable to see the water approaching a city, and we all know that it covered most of Slidell for miles, from the shores of Lake Pontchartrain all the way to the northernmost border of Slidell. We were underwater, and it was a total loss. And I know you guys were living here. You were both in Slidell at the time, right?
No, I was in Chalmette.
You were still in Chalmette?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Katrina was the catalyst that pushed us to move to Slidell.
yeah.
But no, we were living 2 blocks behind Rocky and Carlos in Chalmette.
Speaking of great food,
Yeah.
holy cow.
Yeah, that was where Jen and I bought our first house. So
Yeah.
we lived right by the courthouse
Yeah.
and by Rocky and Carlos in Chalmette. And yeah, Katrina came through just like everybody else in Chalmette, and
Yeah.
St. Bernard.
Did y'all lose your house?
Oh, yeah.
Did you? Washed
Yeah.
away?
Well,
you,
so the house
house
is
still
still
standing?
there,
yeah.
but everything in the
Yeah.
house is gone.
Yeah, it's
Everything
just
of
a
value.
shell is
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
have.
Oh, yeah.
left.
Were you guys close to that pharmacy that Netflix did a special on? What was that called?
It was Bradley's Pharmacy.
Yeah.
So the Netflix show was called The Pharmacist.
Yeah, the pharmacy. That was just unbelievable to watch, man. So you lived down
So
there.
my mom's house was about 2 blocks away from that.
Yeah, so if you ever...
Well, you're 2 blocks away from everything.
Yeah, 2 blocks away from everything. Wherever Al
walking
is,
distance.
Wherever Al is, that's the center
Chalmette
of the
ain't that
universe.
big.
That's exactly.
Yeah, center of the universe.
We're so glad we're in
that
your
was-
universe.
I couldn't hardly watch the show because it was like it's happening in my own life. But you were even closer. You were 2 blocks away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the pharmacy wasn't a real part of anything.
Yeah.
The woman who was writing all the prescriptions, Dr. Leggett in New Orleans East,
Yeah.
she was the real kind of.
I see.
That's where everything centered around.
But
The
she
guy-
used that pharmacy then. Yeah.
No, so the whole premise is the pharmacist, his son passed away.
Yeah.
And then he stumbled upon this. His son had a drug addiction.
Right.
And then as he was investigating what happened with his son, he began to realize all of he was a pharmacist, and all these individuals were coming in to get their prescriptions filled.
Wow.
He started doing more investigating and found
Yeah.
out there was someone in New Orleans East who was writing tons and tons and tons of prescriptions.
Right.
And that kind of opens up the story where he found out there were people who would really doctor shopping, so they
Yeah.
would go to that doctor and get prescriptions, and then go to a different doctor.
Right.
And doctors were just
And
making
at the
money
time,
hand
nothing
over.
was connected,
Right.
Wow.
so they didn't have computers the way they have them
Right.
set up today.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
So
like...
he wasn't doing anything illegal. He
Right.
he was part of the catalyst to bring it all to light.
I got you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, that was an amazing story. It kind of gives you the backstory of the opioid addiction. You
Right.
know, a lot of it was just just untold stories of people's lives. And we still battle opioid addiction today. But your house was 2 blocks away, lost everything, and that kind of drove you to Slidell.
Yeah, like most people, you lose everything. I think when Jen and I evacuated, we had a suitcase. So we evacuated with our dog, our 6-month-old child, a suitcase, and we took the pictures off we had all our wedding photos.
Yeah.
So we were able to salvage wedding photos. We took that off the wall, and piled everything in the 2 cars, and
Wow.
we rolled out.
Where'd y'all go to?
So we rented a motel room in Macomb, Mississippi.
Oh,
Wow, you guys went big time.
Yeah, it was about 14-hour ride from
Yeah.
Chalmette to Macomb, Mississippi,
Wow.
because they would allow you to have pets.
Right,
So
right.
so my father-in-law and then me and Jen
Can't get away from those dogs, huh?
and his dog and my dog, we all
What was your dog's name at the time?
that was Sugar.
Sugar.
Sugar. Yeah, we had Sugar, and now we have Cinnamon.
Yeah. You guys are into the whole spice thing, man. Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you stayed gone for how long on the evacuation?
Well, I mean, according to Fox News and everybody else, we were refugees.
Yeah.
That's what they called us for the next year and a half.
I know all of us were, man. We were all living,
Yeah, so there was no going back.
Right.
So Hurricane Ida hit recently,
Mm-hmm.
and after Ida hit, a week later, you can come back in and
Right.
and
Start rebuilding.
survey.
Yeah.
When Katrina hit, we were 6-8 weeks out before they let anybody come back in the Chalmette.
Yeah.
We kind of snuck back in.
Yeah, we did. We evacuated to Tennessee.
No, not on that one.
I did.
You went to
Oh, I
Tennessee.
did.
I went to Baton
I always
Rouge.
evacuated to
Yeah,
Tennessee.
I'm sorry.
Just-
You always go to Tennessee.
If I don't know where I'm at, I'm
Yeah.
probably in Tennessee.
That's exactly right.
So, where did you and Curtis go?
We went to Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
We was like, this was
That don't seem very far away.
No, it
That
was
seems
well,
like I'm going to Covington.
It was like me going to Macomb.
Yeah, it's like,
What are you thinking?
You're still in harm's way. Yeah.
No, actually, it was the first time that
Yeah.
in our married life that
Yeah.
we evacuated
Really?
from the hurricane. And
Right.
and so what we had done was we looked at the weather and we kept seeing the outer bands was
Mm-hmm.
the fringe was on Baton Rouge. Daniel had an apartment.
I see.
Was at LSU attending school.
So he was
had
going
an
to LSU at
apartment,
the time.
right?
Yeah.
And so we just said, let's get to Baton Rouge, which took us 3.5 hours to get there. So we said, let's just get there and let's just watch the weather. And if we need to, we were going to go to our, Betsy in Waynes in Illinois.
So you mooched off Daniel,
So
basically.
that's exactly what we did. But you know what? God is so good because this was the first storm that Curtis's company, which
Yeah.
Kerr McGee at the time,
Yeah.
said, look, we want you to take a generator with you.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, Curtis was like, no, man, we don't need that. We're fine.
Yeah.
And he says, no, we want you to take this.
Yeah.
So Curtis took the generator, and that generator supplied 4 apartments
Yeah.
at Daniel's place. The old lady who was the manager of the
Yeah.
place, it kept her. She was well into her 80s, so her
Wow.
apartment was able to have lights. There was a pregnant girl above Daniel who was
Yeah.
heavy pregnant.
Yeah.
Her and then another guy mooched off of
Wow.
the generator.
Oh.
But it was just really nice that we had it
Yeah.
because it really was a lifesaver. But, it was the first storm that we actually ever left for, like I was saying. And I remember just taking everything that I knew I could not replace.
Mm-hmm.
Like I took the wedding pictures, I took the pictures of my kids, everything. We had a conversion van at the time. We loaded up that conversion van with everything that we thought was priceless to
Right.
us.
Yeah.
And from there, we literally walked out the door and I thought, okay, is anybody going to pray? Joshua says, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And if he takes it away, he'll give us something better.
What a prophet.
I'm telling you.
He took it all away.
And I'm
He
telling
took
you,
it down to the floor.
we were down to the shell
Yeah.
in one part of the attic where I kept all of my kids, the painting, the turkey hand print to say Happy Thanksgiving,
Those are
and
valuable.
Mother's Day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was the only part of my house
Yeah.
that was not affected by the
Wow.
storm.
Everything else you had to
Everything
gut.
else was affected.
Yeah.
So, we were
Yeah.
just, but we were blessed. But you know what? It was out of the kindness of people's hearts
Yeah.
that people went to extraordinary
Yeah.
lengths to be able to help people get back.
It's easy to forget that Hurricane Katrina came through and we recovered, but the process wasn't 6 weeks.
No,
It was 36 months.
Right.
We were out 3 years.
it took us 3 years
Unless
to get
you're
in our
living
house. That's
here,
right.
you don't realize, because it was on the news for a month, but then the news went on to something else, and we were all still living in mud
Yeah.
and muck and mire, and our houses were broken down, our
Right.
roof was leaking, and we
Still
didn't have any
living-
jobs
yeah.
or money, or even Walmart was closed. I mean, how can you live when Walmart's out?
Yeah.
You know, all the schools were down. You know, for a whole school year, they were stacking kids in the same one building and having school, 18 hours a day just to rotate the different
Yeah.
classes. I mean, it was an upside down world for 3 years. Our church, Journey was homeless for 34 months. We were mobile for 34 months.
We were a church in the box.
Yeah, we didn't know where we'd meet from week to week. You know, we didn't miss a Sunday. After Katrina, the very next Sunday they let us into town, we had church outside in the parking lot. And we moved for 34 months in a row. We always would say that we're the church for smart people, because only smart people could figure out where we were meeting next Sunday, because we didn't know either. We were always on the go, you know, and with your house, you know, with your family, with schools, with church. It was an upside down world. I mean, I hope I never lived through another Katrina.
Right.
Yeah.
But the lessons I learned from that, I wouldn't trade for anything. You know, like this verse we read in Genesis 7:4, the Lord said, I'm going to send the rain, and I'm going to just cleanse everything. You know,
Yeah, people felt like a lot of people was believing
it's a fresh start.
that it was a fresh start. It was a cleansing that God was doing.
It was a fresh
Yeah.
start, literally.
I just thought it was nature.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
everything came together, and you know, did God use it?
Yeah,
I believe
absolutely.
that God absolutely used
Yeah.
it. But did you guys have it where your friends and family was saying, "Hey, are you going to move away?"
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, move where?
Everybody asked
Where are you
us.
going to move? That's not catastrophes. that
California
happen?
has mudslides,
Earthquakes.
and forest fires, and you know, tornadoes is across the Midwest, and
You got
snowstorms
blizzards.
and blizzards and tsunamis. I mean,
No
every
place
state.
can you go can
Right.
you hide. But I feel like living in the South is the best place to live,
Yeah.
only because we get a heads up.
Yeah.
We get a warning.
Yeah, we get a
So we
3-day
can
warning.
So we can prepare
Yeah.
for whatever's going to come
Right.
and hit us. And then
Right.
we're residual. You know,
Yeah.
what's the word?
Yes,
residual.
Resilient.
Resilient. There you go. Resilient.
Residuals, it means you're
Yeah,
getting paid for your
exactly.
broadcast
I would
later
like
Yeah,
on.
to be-
I knew it was starting to arc.
getting
Can we?
residuals for this?
Are we
Nice.
getting paid?
Where do I sign?
What?
Oh my
gosh,
Oh,
mail-
Ken, you
mail
missed
me my
it.
check, man.
Checks in the mail.
The residuals are coming in
yeah.
now.
But
Yeah,
you
but
know,
very
we're
resilient.
resilient people.
Yeah, we
and
are.
we just say we get
Yeah.
up and we rebuild.
Right.
And that's what we've done over and over.
Right, and you know, with Hurricane Katrina, we made a partnership with Convoy of Hope,
Yeah.
which was not even expected. We didn't know who they were at the time. Convoy of Hope was born in our fellowship out of the AG. It's now an international relief organization. They're worldwide. They're touching millions of people. At that time, they were a local ministry out of Springfield, Missouri. So I got a phone call one day from Kerry Kingsland, and I want to show you that video in a minute. Kerry just sent us a video. He's still with Convoy. He was one of the original founders, and he's now the vice president of operations. He's an amazing guy. They're doing ministry all over the world. But Kerry sent us a 25-year congratulations video, because Journey's 25 years old this year. So we'll show that in a second.
Hi, this is Kerry Kingston from Convoy of Hope, and I wanted to bring a warm greeting to you, Pastor Doug, and the entire Journey Church family. What a wonderful opportunity it is for Convoy of Hope to celebrate with you and all of you 25 years of ministry. Pastor Doug, it seems like yesterday we were in your parking lot there in Slidell, forklifting cars out of the way, picking up dead fish in the midst of severe loss so that we could partner together to serve not only the city of Slidell, but the entire region. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your faithfulness to thrive where God has planted you as a church. And here's to the next 25 years. Blessings on all of you.
But Kerry called and said, "Hey, is this Doug McAllister?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey, I hear you guys have a parking lot." I was like, "That's about all we have left is a parking lot." He said, "You're right." He said, "We were wondering if we could stage our relief supplies in your parking lot." And I said, "Absolutely, it's not being used. Come on up." We didn't know what scope it was going to mean, but they rolled in, several 18-wheeler loads of water and food and emergency supplies, and it turned that little operation turned into a month-long relief and recovery effort. At one point, for weeks at a time, we were giving out 2,000 carloads a day of water, food, groceries, diapers. They even set up a mobile medical center where people could come see a doctor. They had a tent city where volunteers were coming in from all over the state and the nation, and it was a hub of operations. So God turned our calamity into a victory. He turned our misery into a ministry. I think we estimated 50,000 families that we fed in that recovery and relief effort. We were there on the lines every day. Every day we were loading cars, with food and water.
It was amazing. Like, where did we get that energy and the strength from?
Yeah,
It just came from
because all of our houses were wrecked too. I mean, we were all living in And we just sold our house, and we moved into another house right before the storm. In that storm, that house took a tree, so we couldn't live there anymore. So we were living at our other house in about an hour away in Livingston Parish. And driving every morning, and we stayed there for about a week or two, and then finally we bought an RV, and we lived in the RV until things recovered. Man, the stories of your family, Rachel and I, and 5 kids living in a 1-bedroom RV.
Nice.
Crazy.
How did we survive 1 bathroom and 1 bedroom with 7 people?
Just the grace of God.
And I don't have any bad memories at that time. Maybe the Lord erased all of the bad memories, but our family bonded in a way that could have never, ever happened.
Yeah.
I mean, we were literally on top of each other every moment of every day, So while it was hard, the cleansing that came out of it, for our life and our, to rebuild, we bought a new house about a year later. Then we started building a new church about 2 years later, and all these things kind of just, turned into a whole new season,
Mm-hmm.
So even though that verse is pretty tragic in that God wipes it all away, and Joshua's right, the Lord gives and the Lord takes away, and blessed be the name of the Lord. He's God.
Yeah.
Sometimes we can just adjust to it, so.
Surrender to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we lived in our front yard for 3 years.
Yeah.
In a fifth wheel.
That's right.
3
years.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. You
in
and
our
Curtis.
front yard.
You and Curtis and the dog. Which dog did y'all have at the time?
At Oreo.
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 Yeah.
But Oreo didn't stay in the camper.
Oh, you didn't?
Oh, no.
Where'd you leave Oreo?
He was in the backyard.
Oh my gosh, that Oreo live inside like a
Oh,
regular human being.
Wait. Let me just say this. Oreo had it really good.
Yeah.
Because Joshua
Sure,
was.
you're in the trailer. He's out in the yard.
No. At first, Oreo went with Joshua.
Oh, did he?
And Joshua went with Al. Is his father-in-law worked for the fire department, so they were on call.
Yeah.
So he had asked
So
Joshua.
Josh's father-in-law.
Yes, Joshua's father-in-law.
Gotcha, yeah.
So he was engaged to Ashley, and Al asked Joshua if he would go and stay with Ashley and her mom at the hotel because he was just worried about with all the influx of people.
Right,
and
just to be safe.
And so Oreo got to go and live in the So Oreo was set up really well.
He's like a celebrity, man. He had his own hotel room.
Oreo had it really good, and I want to say they must have stayed there for probably a good 6 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So Oreo had it really good. Then Oreo came home.
Yeah.
We moved back home because we got the fifth wheel.
Yeah.
From Curtis's company, and so I was back there by myself, and I didn't want to. We were the first ones to go back into the neighborhood,
right.
And so I had Oreo. He's a pit bull, and I thought, well, at least Oreo will bark, and I will have a warning. So I slept with a knife underneath of my pillow. I didn't have a gun.
Like
at
you're gonna
that
knife
time.
fight a burglar, right?
I know.
I got a knife.
Was it a butter knife? You don't use it for mayo, so what? I mean,
yeah, you don't use it for its intended purposes. Yeah.
But I literally slept with a knife under my pillow just in case.
Did you ever see a burglar?
Happened. Nope, nothing. God
Nobody
literally
broke in?
God protected.
Remember,
even
there
in
was
the dark.
there was rumors all over town that there were roving bands of looters. I never saw a roving band of looters ever come through Slidell.
Yeah.
I didn't see roving bands of looters, but my house definitely got robbed after
Oh,
Katrina.
did it?
Really?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I caught the guy. So he was a guy who was driving one of those bulldozers clearing the streets after the storm, and you mentioned like, oh, we took all our valuables, we took this, we grabbed the pictures off the wall, and we grabbed one suitcase, and we fully expected, like every other storm, we never evacuated. You bought beer, you partied while the storm, while the lights were out, and that was
well,
that.
there it goes with the beer. You're still stuck on the beer.
How
Oh,
was
man.
hurricanes?
I wasn't saved.
He wasn't saved. That's right. BC,
I didn't get
right?
saved until Katrina.
Yeah.
Katrina was the catalyst that pushed me to Christ.
Man.
So for us, that was life. That it was hurricane parties. That's no exaggeration.
Yeah.
You looked forward to. You got off of work for a few days.
Yeah.
You're like,
Party.
this is amazing. Yeah, I get off on a Wednesday.
Bring it on,
Come
people.
on, Jesus. Yeah. So when we were able to get back into to Chalmette, I remember I walked in my house, and everything is an absolute disaster. The smell.
Yeah.
Everything. It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's
It
literally
is.
the
Right.
worst.
It's the worst.
And so I had like a pool stick. I found, anything you could find of value. You're like, oh, here's my pool stick, and you grab that and
My pool's there.
Yeah.
See, you like pool too.
So I did. I absolutely
He
did.
never won a
Do you have
trophy.
any
though.
trophies?
No, he
No
never got no
trophies,
trophy.
no.
I didn't think so.
No.
He sucked.
Very few of us have won trophies, but I understand.
Oh,
Yeah.
he got a trophy.
I have one.
So we, our living room table had floated outside, so I was using that to put whatever knickknacks I could find, you know.
Yeah.
So you find a pool cue, you put that out there. So
Yeah.
I had about a box,
Yeah.
one box of valuables after Katrina
That you salvaged.
So
that I was
sad.
able to
Wow.
to keep.
Yeah.
And so I was letting all this stuff dry out, and then I decided I put it on the table, and I drove over to my grandpa's house, and was driving to my dad's house and checking on all the family members' homes and things like that. And I drove back to my house, and my box. You got one box, it's gone. You know how mad you are when you have one box.
I have
left?
one box left, and
In
it's
my
gone.
whole, it's not even a valuable. It's not even a box of gold.
It's just
It's just my knickknacks.
It's knickknacks and whatnots.
it's
Yeah.
stuff that you bought at a flea market. Like it's nothing
whatnot.
really valuable, but it's my
It was
box.
crap you were going to get away with later, but
It
that was
was
what you
my
could
box.
salvage
Yeah.
right then.
I know.
So I drove off. I was so upset, and I drove off. I made the corner, and I knew the guy who lived on the corner house, and I saw he was not home.
Yeah.
But I saw the curtains moving
Yeah.
in his upstairs where I knew his bedroom was.
The looter was still there.
Well, the tractor, the big bulldozer, was parked out front of his house too.
Oh my!
I said, "What the heck?" So yeah, I'll spare you all the details, but I did have to pull a gun, and we were yelling and
You
screaming.
pulled a
and
gun?
it's
Oh,
like
definitely.
like Goldilocks came home and caught the.
Yeah.
I mean, the bear came home and
I'm
caught
telling-
Goldilocks.
Look, I
whatever
wasn't
the story is.
saved. I didn't know Christ, and I'm telling you, when you have one box of goods
Yeah, and a pool cue.
and somebody steals your one and only box, and then
Yeah.
you catch this guy in your friend's house,
Them's fighting words.
So what did you say when you came up on the guy?
he called my bluff. Basically, it was a standoff. He called my bluff. I started yelling and screaming to him to come out the house. He came out the house. I had a 22 rifle. And, he came out the house and he basically said, I was just using the bathroom. Nothing was going on. You crazy. And I'm saying, there's no running water. There's no electricity. There's no water. There's no
outside by the
nothing.
tree, right?
There's nothing. You're
Hello?
upstairs in my friend's house. You
Yeah.
know, he basically called my bluff and got on his tractor slowly and said, I'm doing my job. I'm not doing nothing wrong. So, and I wasn't that crazy where I was going to shoot somebody. I
Yeah.
felt like
You could have
shooting him.
shot the ground.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to scare him.
You never do
So,
that.
yeah.
That's a rule. You should know that.
Why?
You never shoot a gun unless you mean to kill somebody.
No, you can shoot the gun and scare the person.
Nah, I'm pretty
But
sure.
if the
That's not the rule. Don't take her advice on that.
Yeah, I thought you went through a firearm safety class.
Well, I did learn that if you pull the gun, be ready to fire.
Right.
That you're supposed
Yeah.
to shoot it. I get that, but
Yeah.
I also know that you can scare a person and just shoot the gun and let them know you're serious about.
yeah, you should probably stick to the butter knife. So.
So you didn't shoot the guy?
No, I didn't.
On
shoot.
the ground?
No, I didn't
You
shoot
know, he
anything.
just called your bluff and said, "Oh,
Yeah.
he's just trash. He's just
He
talking
did.
Plus
trash."
he had heavy equipment. He
He
could have
did.
ran over you.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So I ran.
So
and
did you
got-
get your box back?
No.
You didn't even see him with your box, but you just assumed
I-
that he took your box.
It was him.
Everything was rifled through. Everything was moved
You didn't say, "Hey, dude, I
around.
want to check your tractor out."
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah, I wish there was like
So-
some movie ending, there's some perfect scenario here, but in real life, it's
It
like
lost it.
Yeah, in real life, it's like this is what
My
happens.
last box,
Oh,
and
yeah.
now it's
I
gone.
went to the police. So the police had a roadblock set up on Paris Road. They had a roadblock set up stopping cars from coming and going. So I went, when I was leaving, I stopped and I told the officer, and I said, hey, there's a guy over here. He's driving a bulldozer. He went through my stuff. I saw him in my neighbor's house, blah, blah, blah. And he said, yeah, we know who he is. We know, like, it was like, this is the Wild West we're living in now. We understand. We know where we're at.
Yikes.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. We know who he is. We know where you're talking about.
But
Wow.
they didn't get your trinket back,
No,
huh?
no,
man.
You get nothing back.
I saw a hand-painted sign in Slidell after the storm, and they misspelled the word looters. They spelled it Ludders.
Yeah.
So this guy was mad. Maybe he didn't stop to look it up or think about it. He says, I will shoot looters on
Letters.
site.
I'm gonna shoot all those letters.
It was a great sign. I don't know if it was real or somebody just making fun, but it was, yeah, he was serious. I will shoot looters on site.
Talking about losing things, Joshua had had a little part-time job, and so he had saved up some money, and so he wanted this jewelry. So he went to Sal's Jewelers in Slidell, and he had a custom-made jewelry, one of a kind.
Oh.
It was so gaudy.
Yeah.
It was like absolutely.
It was a ring or a necklace?
No, it was a necklace, and
Necklace.
it was big, and it was like it covered like a third of his chest,
like-
and it was gold,
Yeah.
and it was.
It's like
So-
rapper jewelry, like Snoop Dogg would wear.
I don't remember. I just remember
Yes.
how ugly that
Okay,
thing was.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like-
It was
yeah,
ugly.
yeah.
And so Joshua, in the leaving, he didn't take that piece of jewelry.
What?
Yeah, he didn't,
Wow.
just totally had forgotten about it. And I want to say this kid paid over $1,000 back then for that
Wow.
piece of jewelry. And so he leaves it. He winds up. He comes back, and of course you can't find anything. Everything is gone.
Right.
So the insurance guy comes out, the adjuster comes out,
Mm-hmm.
and he's taking a list of everything. And Joshua said, "Hey, what about my piece of jewelry? Can I claim that?"
Mm-hmm.
And the guy said, "Yeah." And so Joshua got his money.
Oh,
He
that's
got
so
his money
cool.
back on the jewelry. And I said, "Well, Joshua, are you getting another one?" And he says, "No, ma'am."
So
even
got his money back. So
yeah, he got his money back.
so the Lord
off
even
of it.
cleansed that from his life.
Yes.
Got $1,000 back.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
No telling where he would have gone.
Katrina was quite the story, man. Quite the
No, he's a
story.
good kid.
And Josh is a great man.
Josh was a good kid.
Great man.
Well,
God's blessed
that was the
us.
catalyst. You know, you said, "Oh, well, we were the church in a box, and we
Yeah.
were the church that was traveling for 34 months."
34
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, I mean that was it. We were refugees for those, I guess it was 18 months or so. For that first year after the storm, we were living in FEMA trailers.
Yeah.
You said, "Oh, well, we were so close together." I was like, "Yeah." Kayla learned to walk in a FEMA trailer.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Like she bounced.
That is a great.
She bounced off.
touched both
Yeah,
walls.
she touched both walls at 1 year old. She was walking at 10 or 11 months. So
Oh
yeah,
my
she
gosh.
kind of bounced down the hallway.
That's so
That was the way
sweet.
she learned how to walk.
What a great story. Kayla had
that's
to
a
walk in
great
a
story.
FEMA trailer. Man, those FEMA trailers were bad.
They were bad. And then
They all
were
smelled like formaldehyde. It smelled like
Yeah.
it was a funeral home. Every
Yeah.
one of them.
And people who lived in them for long periods of time
Yeah.
actually started getting sick
Yeah.
because of being in them.
It was like they built so many of
Did
them
you guys
so
get sick?
fast.
No, we moved out. So we lived in a FEMA trailer for I'd say maybe 6 to 8 months, something like that.
Yeah.
We weren't in it that long. We got our insurance. We were very blessed, even though we didn't even know Christ. God worked all this together
Yeah.
in such
Yeah.
an amazing way for our family.
Right.
You talk about wiping the slate clean and having an opportunity to start fresh.
Yeah.
That's literally what Katrina was for
Yeah.
our life.
Yeah.
So much pain and hurt and addictions and all
Sure.
those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, we had an opportunity to wash
Yeah.
and wipe clean and to start
Yeah.
fresh.
I think
Yeah.
God did that in the hearts of a lot of people, and
man.
did that for so many people
The whole
who
city.
took advantage of it.
Yeah.
Because I just remember like all the things that God did for us in that time frame.
Yeah.
Like Curtis's company working for Kerr McGee and how they took care of us, how
Yeah.
they bought
They
our
were so
fifth
generous
wheel.
to y'all, man.
Oh my, they were
They
beyond.
gave y'all a fifth wheel trailer.
They
That's,
gave us a fifth wheel trailer. They gave us $5,000. They came and found us every 2 weeks and provided gas for us and our kids.
Wow.
Wherever, the kids would come in and they would fill up their tanks. They would bring groceries to us.
Man.
They were just like amazing.
Wow.
And even when we went to they did the road home, Road Home came in and they said, well, what, you could benefit from this tragedy.
Yeah.
So we went and filled out the paperwork, and they had just said, oh, well, you're going to get, it was under a couple of $1,000.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, it's a couple of $1,000
Right.
that we
Right.
didn't have.
and so many churches responded, and so many organizations and businesses, like your company, Kerr McGee took care of y'all, but some people didn't have a great company like that.
Yeah.
But other people filled in the gap. Like I know churches and relief organizations and individuals all over the country came
Was
and
so
helped.
generous and so nice and
Yeah.
and kind. But I just want to finish the story.
Oh, go ahead.
Literally, we went in and we literally had gotten there just a couple of days before they
Yeah.
stopped and closed. This was the last day that they were going to take applications.
Yeah.
And so we had a lady named Belinda. And Belinda said, do you have this, and this? And I said, well, I probably can dig it up and pull up this paperwork for you. She said, if you can get it to me by tomorrow at 5:00, she says, I think I can get you more money.
Wow.
And I was like, okay.
I'm gonna
So
go
I
find it.
went on the hunt,
Yeah.
got it in before 5:00, and guess how much money we got?
I don't know.
$87,000.
Yeah, we didn't get no money from Road Home.
I got nothing from Road Home.
Yeah.
And do you know what?
You remember where the Road Home was meeting?
Yes, in where we're at
we're at, our
today.
church. That
Where
was
we're
the-
at today.
that was the
But do
headquarters.
you know what? I have a sticky note in my closet on my dresser that has Belinda's name on it. I pray for her. I still pray
that's
for
the
her.
grace of God.
That was the grace of God. So I really believe that God gave people, because it literally helped us in so many different ways. 87,000 changes your life,
Right.
right?
Yeah, sure will.
And so God just blessed us
Yeah.
in so many different ways.
We were trying to reestablish our Sunday experience, and we didn't have any chairs, and the building we were using didn't have chairs to let us use. So a church emailed me. They didn't even call. The church emailed me and said, "Hey, do you guys need any equipment for your church?" And I answered immediately, "Yes, we need 500 folding chairs." And the guy emailed back and said, "When do you need them?" I said, "By Sunday, because we have nowhere to sit." He said, "Let me see if I can find you some." So anyway, Healing Place Church and Bethany in Baton Rouge each gave us half the money. So they gave us $20,000 that day to buy chairs. So by the next Sunday, when we had 5. In fact, we still have those those blonde
Right.
folding chairs. We still have those.
Yes, we do.
But they came out of the generosity of people just calling
Giving.
and saying, "What can we help you with? What is your immediate need today?"
Well, no one in anyone's lifetime
Yeah.
had ever experienced
Yeah.
a storm of that
Yeah.
magnitude.
Right.
And so people from all over, and just think of the influx of people that
Right.
came in to help us,
Yeah.
to rebuild.
I know
and
it.
and they didn't just come and spend a few days. People gave up their whole vacation
Yeah.
for
Some
the
stayed for
year.
weeks.
And
Yeah.
and that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Literally,
Some moved here and lived here
Yeah.
and worked.
Right.
It was just an amazing time that we saw the generosity of people at a level in
I
which
still
had
have
never been
friends.
seen before.
We were in General Counsel in Orlando a couple months ago, and I was walking through the exhibit hall, and the guy saw my name tag. "You're from Slidell?" "Yeah." He said, "Hey, I was down there, and I stayed in a parking lot of a church." And I said, "That was our parking lot." He said, "Oh my gosh, I stayed with you for," he stayed like a whole week. He came down and just served on the relief
I
line.
thought you were going to say some guy saw you walking around and said, "It's Brad Pitt."
He did think I was Brad Pitt too. It's the same guy. He thought, "Hey, aren't you Brad Pitt?" Yeah.
But you know what? How God just cares about all the details in your life.
He does.
When we got to Baton Rouge, I pulled my back. My back went out,
Yeah.
and I literally could not move. I was like, there was no chiropractor. There was nothing open. So even in Baton Rouge, there was nothing to be a doctor or anything to go
Yeah.
see. And so my mom, we didn't know where my mom was because they had evacuated, and we had no idea where they were. So we
Yeah.
were trying to, you're trying to find your family where they're all
Sure.
at. Well, my mom and them had gone to St. Francisville. They were staying at a hotel, and a woman came in and said, "Look, I don't have any money to give. I can't provide food for anybody." She says, "But," she says, I'm a massage therapist."
Yeah.
And she says, "I will give massages to anybody who needs them just to alleviate some stress."
Yeah.
So she went in and she looked at my mom and she said, "Hey," she says, "do you have a back issue?" And she says, my mom says, "No." She says, "Well, the Lord says that I needed to tell you this."
Yeah.
And my mom says, "Well, if the Lord said for you to tell me,
Yeah.
go ahead and tell me."
Yeah.
So she tells my mom that when you have lower back issues, you take a towel, you roll it up, and then you put it where to put it in your back. She says, if you do this 5 minutes every day, she says, you'll never have back issues.
Wow.
So 2 days.
Why is this secret hidden?
Right?
Because
Why don't we all know this already?
Because the chiropractors wouldn't be able to make money.
They should be putting this on the news every other night. Yeah.
Well, now it's going to be now
It's
everybody
broadcasted.
knows.
Millions of
Said it on a
people.
podcast.
Now they're gonna know
Millions
it.
of people.
Yeah, well,
Everyone
at
knows
least
now.
hundreds.
Brad
watching
Pitt
right now.
recommends
Yeah.
this for
I'll
your back
embellish
problems.
that.
Yeah, well,
So my 2 days later, my mom connects with us, and they come over to Daniel's apartment,
Yeah.
and she sees that I am completely flat on my back and cannot do anything.
Wow.
My mom tells me about the towel. I lay on the towel for 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and I was able to get up.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's wild.
I was able to get up and start
So
moving
you weren't faking the whole
again.
time just to be on the couch at Daniel's house? Hey, this towel healed me. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, but
that
I
does
used
work.
it. But
Yeah.
I used it every day after that.
Yeah.
for-
I don't have back issues, but I know some people who do use the,
Yeah.
the roll-up towel method,
Yeah.
But I've never had a back
But I
problem.
just thought, God just cared about all the details.
Yeah, he does. Even the little
You
things,
know, the
like
little
my back
things.
hurts.
Yeah. And he knew I needed to be able to get up and function and move and
Right. Well,
everything.
we only have a few minutes left, so let's
Oh,
wrap it
wow.
up with Ida. So we just lived through Hurricane Ida, which was a
Yes.
Category 4. Unfortunately, it hit just about 20 or 30 miles west of us. So the brunt of it missed us. Even though Slidell took a lot of damage, we were up and running within a few days.
Yeah, we were on the east side.
Yeah, but the damage
The
really
storm.
from Covington all the way to Baton Rouge, especially Livingston Parish, just took a beating. We did evacuate for Ida.
Yeah.
All you guys. Where did you go for
Went to
Ida?
Dallas. My
Yeah.
brother lives in Dallas,
Yeah,
so
nice.
yeah. If my kids were older, if they were in Baton Rouge and
Yeah.
at LSU or they
Yeah.
were whatever. Well, I have a 5-year-old. It's like
Yeah.
I'm not. You don't want
You
to.
don't
I
want
don't.
to take the chance.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have
And then what-
electricity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life's over.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah. This is Luke most of his
Yeah,
life.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking Luke on the sofa doing
Yeah,
that
he's
exact
like,
same thing.
hey,
Yeah.
That
turn,
dude-
turn the lights on, people.
Yeah, he's like, wait, what? What are you
This
talking
is
about?
Luke's world, and
Yeah.
y'all just live in
You don't
it.
have to tell me. Shoot.
So you went to Dallas. You guys stayed home.
We stayed home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to
And
tell you to
that-
leave. I
know.
called her out and told her, Tanya, you need to pack up and
You
leave.
did, Douglas
No, I'm
David. You
fine.
said-
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not doing this again.
You said, well, my mom's not leaving.
Yeah, and that
I
was
don't
it.
wanna- I
My
understand.
mom and Curtis's
I
mom would
get
not
that.
leave,
Yeah.
and because I just couldn't leave them because
Yeah.
I thought if something happened to them,
Sure.
I just didn't
You
know
wanna
if
be
I could
close
handle
by.
that.
Well,
So you
and
guys-
you
And I wanted
protect
to
them
be-
with the butter knife.
Yeah.
Make sure. I mean,
Yeah,
roving,
you stupid the
roving
butcher knife under
bands
your
of
pillow.
letters.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
whatever I have to do, and if it means using a butter knife, I'm using the butter knife.
So y'all
okay?
wrote it out in your house.
So we wrote it out
and you
in
lost
our house.
power at midnight or so?
And we lost power around midnight.
Yeah,
And
man.
yeah, it was crazy.
And it was a-
two trees, but even then, God protected us because 2 trees fell between 2 of our sheds.
Wow.
And it literally, from our property is 127 feet deep.
Yeah.
And literally, the tree probably came from the backyard fence of the neighbor's yard
yeah.
all the way to the house.
Yeah.
Which was probably maybe 75, 80 feet.
Yeah.
Was the height of the tree.
Right.
Fell perfectly between the 2 sheds.
And missed your house, too.
And missed the house.
That's the grace of
Totally
God.
missed the house.
That's amazing.
Totally missed the house.
Yeah, those trees are.
So we were just without power for 4
Yeah.
days. It was, we had a generator.
Yeah.
And so it was the same one Kerr-McGee gave us.
Wow.
Still use it.
Still doing it. And y'all stayed the whole time, and
Yeah,
then
God bless Kerr-McGee and all
yeah,
the
I
owners.
know.
You
May
guys
the Lord
were-
bless them.
Yeah.
you got power back like in 2 weeks or something like that.
No, we were out 4 days.
4 days only.
Yeah, we were out
Oh,
4
gosh.
days. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It was just 4 days.
Yeah, because the next Sunday we were back open for church.
But I think it was 4 days because we're so close to Pontchartrain.
Yeah.
And they've got
Right.
to get that up and going.
And we got
so
power
I don't
quick
know.
at the church, man. Within a
Yeah,
few days. Yeah,
we
had
did. And then the
power.
church took literally our parking lot could be a
Almost-
pool.
almost no
Every
damage.
time we have a heavy
Yeah.
rain, it's a pool.
Because it's built below the level of the road.
Yes.
So it's a natural bowl.
What were they thinking when they even
I
built
know
that,
it,
being in
man.
Louisiana?
I know, right? Y'all, come on.
Dumb.
Put some dirt in.
Come on.
It's built
Build-
70 years
build it.
ago. Yeah, I think our building
so-
was built like in the 1960s, I think I read, or the 50s.
Yeah.
It's an old
It's
building.
old building because
Yeah.
it used to be National Food Store,
was a food
and it was a
store.
Schwagman's at one
Right.
time.
Yeah, it's been
so,
a
yeah.
grocery store. It was Road Home.
And now
Yeah.
it's the best thing it's ever been.
Oh
It's
man,
Journey Fellowship Church,
Journey's
baby.
having
Yes.
church. We're worshiping Jesus there every Sunday, man. We're having a blast. We went to Tennessee again, so we evacuated first to Birmingham the first night, and then we made it all the way to East Tennessee, and we stayed there for four or 5 days, and then we came home. But what I love most about Ida was the response that the lead team had to all the people that were in need. Even though we weren't as bad as Katrina, there were hundreds of families affected who needed help. And you guys hit the ground running. Al and Tanya and Ken hit the ground running. You have the stats.
I do.
After the storm, we set up a relief and recovery center and partnered with some Convoy of Hope friends and some other people.
Hope City.
And how many people did we get to serve?
We had 96 volunteers that came out in that,
Wow.
during that 2-week period.
So we had 96 Journey people
that came out to help
came to
and
serve. And then what did we do for those?
hands and feet.
Yeah.
of Jesus.
Yeah.
664 cars went through the line,
Wow.
and we had 74
And
homes.
we gave them water and food and
water
groceries.
and food and
Yeah,
grocery. We
yeah.
tarped houses and
Yeah, so 660 families and then 75 homes,
and then
you said?
74 homes.
74
I
homes.
stopped counting at 74. We did
Yeah.
a few more after that.
Yeah.
But there was
Yeah.
74 because there was a few stragglers.
And we also,
people.
later on, we helped that brother who lost his electricity. Remember?
Power
about-
pole.
yeah.
Oh,
Malachi?
yes,
Yeah, about a week
yes.
later. So it's probably
So,
closer to 80
Yeah,
people that we helped.
I would think that we're
Yeah.
closer to 80
Yeah.
because I kept sending Pastor Ken out.
Yeah. Get one more request.
Yeah.
So 600 plus families.
664 cars went through, and that's not counting people.
Yeah.
You know, that's cars that came through.
Yeah.
And some of those cars had 2 and 3 families that was inside of them.
Yeah, right.
So we touched thousands of
people.
lives.
Yeah.
Thousands of homes, you
Yeah.
know. Even like people left from our lines and then they gave them our phone number
Yeah.
and they were calling in, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I just really appreciate all that. And those 96 people that came out and
I know, and served.
faithfully
I know it.
served, you know, during those 2-week periods.
In
that
the
we
middle
had
of
the
their
line.
own crises. you know?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And I think about all the phone calls, like literally everyone was called.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think of it's Belinda and Melody.
Yeah.
Melody and I just thankful for her and Debbie. And there was another lady that came out and she made phone calls on one day. But Melanie was there every day,
Wow.
calling people
Yeah.
and assessing what they needed,
Yeah.
how we could help them and serve
Yeah.
them in
It-
whatever capacity.
It was just a great opportunity for ministry, you know.
And I love that about our church because
Yeah.
every time there's a crisis,
Right.
we just step up to the plate.
Yeah.
And we just said, okay, what is it that we can do?
Yeah.
And let's do it. Let's make the difference.
Driving back from evacuation and coming through Louisiana, all the little towns I went through, you know who was out serving people?
The
local
church.
church.
That's always.
Every city had a church that was doing relief or recovery or feeding people or helping, you know, widows and poor people and others who couldn't help themselves. It was just across the whole region. I mean, I had a lump in my throat driving home just seeing all the local churches, you know, just taking care of business,
Yeah.
you know.
You know what really touches me about, you know, the relief and recovery,
Yeah.
in which we just recently did,
Yeah.
was just all the people we got to pray for.
I know.
You know, it was
Yeah.
all the people who welled up and began to cry because they didn't know like how they were going to get diapers for their baby
Yeah.
and formula.
I know.
And you know, when old people come up and they're saying, "I don't know what I'm going to do," and they're just crying, and
Yeah.
you get to lay hands on them and pray for them.
Yeah, I was in the greeting area of the line at the very beginning of the relief line, so I was just waving at people, talking to people, and this young lady with 2 kids in car seats rolled up in front of me, and she put a window down, and she was probably in her mid-20s, not even 30 years old, and I said, "What can we help you with today?" Because that's kind of what I ask everybody, just to kind of assess what they had going on. And she said, "I really need diapers." And she started crying, and she said, "I'm on my last pack, and I don't have anywhere to get diapers, and we don't have any money." And she said, "If I can make it until we get paid again, you know, I know I'll be able to get diapers next week." And so she and I just cried together, basically, because, you know, you see 2 little kids, you know, one's about 18 months old, one's a newborn or not much older. And her greatest need was she needed diapers, you know, and thank God because of Convoy and some other people, we had plenty of diapers. We took care of her.
Yeah.
But those are real needs that when, you know, when you help people who can't help themselves, have no other way around. To me, that's Matthew 25.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus said, "If you do it to the least of these, you do it unto me."
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
you guys led the way. Pastor Al, Pastor Tanya, Pastor Ken, and those 100 people from Journey were out there every day serving and meeting real needs. You know?
I just, you know, we gave a shout out for Convoy of Hope. I just want to give a shout out for Hope City.
Yeah, the great church that
They
Daniel
were
goes to
just,
now.
this is a church my son goes to in Katy, Texas.
Yeah.
The main campus is in Houston, and Jeremy Foster is the lead pastor. And I just really want to say thank you.
Yes,
You know,
they were amazing.
They were just really, they were
Yeah.
God sent.
Yeah.
To us.
They rolled in
And
immediately.
They literally,
Yeah.
just immediately right after the storm,
Yeah.
they were like on the phone saying,
Yeah.
"Okay, what can we do to help?"
Yeah.
And a generous church member
Yeah.
donated like $8,000
Yeah.
worth of goods.
Yeah.
They drove down within a trailer, and then the church had funds set aside also so that he went to Hattiesburg and got
Yeah.
another trailer load
Wow.
of supplies and brought to us. So to Pastor Trevor and Nathan for driving that distance in 48 hours.
I know.
They had taken care of, brought a trailer, gone and picked up another trailer load, and then went to Convoy of Hope in Kenner
Yeah.
and picked up another trailer load, all
Yeah.
within 48 hours, and was back home. So
Yeah.
shout out to Hope
I know.
City for being such an amazing
Yeah.
church. It's such a generous church.
I know. God bless them all. Man, what a great time it's been. I love hanging out with you. Anything you want to say before we close out?
No, I think when I look at the storm, we were very fortunate for Ida that Slidell didn't get hit
Yes.
worse.
Yeah.
Right.
But one of the things it highlights is when the stores are out of goods, and people are that there's that little hiccup.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many people who are living
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
They have enough food in their pantry for the next week, and if the power goes out for a few days, like there are a lot of people who are living right on the edge of
Right.
things here,
That's
and
true.
Paycheck to paycheck.
yeah. So we're fortunate, obviously, that the church is able to step up and to help.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in the coming days, as things get worse,
Yeah.
America isn't getting better, in my opinion.
No.
This city, this nation is continuing to fade away.
Right.
Hopefully, the city of God has an opportunity to shine brighter and to come even closer.
So true.
So we have more opportunities for us just to continue to be the church.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people who are living right on the fringe, if you
Yeah.
will, from
Right.
disaster.
Right.
And it doesn't take much. We're very fortunate. We didn't get hit harder than
But
what
had
did.
we, it
Yeah,
would
you're
have.
talking about the decline with America and not getting better. I went to Walmart this weekend, and I just could not believe
Shelves
how
still
the
bare.
shelves
Yeah.
are bare.
Yeah.
And they still don't have supplies
Yeah.
on the shelves. It's just
Yeah.
blowing your mind. So
Right.
you buy whatever they have,
Right.
and you use that. But I will say this: there's something in the warehouse that I just want to put it out there. If anybody needs 20 boxes of cracker crumbs, 10-pound boxes of cracker crumbs,
That was the
we
most
want you to know
odd
we
gift
have
we ever
that.
received.
Okay.
We had a pallet full of cracker crumbs, which would be great for gumbo or for recipes or whatever.
We tried to give it away, but nobody needs it.
Yeah, who
So
needs-
if
Imagine
there's
that.
anybody
Yeah.
who
It's
needs
like-
cracker
It's
crumbs,
like the saltine company swept up the floor after the crackers shut down. Here's what's left over. Let's
let's
sell
put them
these
in
too.
10-pound boxes
People will buy
and
this.
give them away.
Yeah, not.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap it up. Pastor Al, Pastor Tanya, so glad you guys joined us today for Stories I Didn't Tell Last Sunday. I'm Doug McAllister on behalf of Journey Fellowship Church. In fact, if you're living on the North Shore somewhere near Slidell, come visit us. We're on Pontchartrain Drive across from the new Walmart. You can get driving directions. Download the Journey app. It's free from your app store. In the search bar, type in Journey Fellowship Church, and you can download our app, and you can get driving directions there. You can also find out how to get involved, find out more about us. You can see our history, find a small group. All that information is on the app, or you can visit us at journeyfellowshipchurch.com. That's our address on the web. We meet every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock for worship and word. It's a family event, and we love children and youth. We have a great generations ministry for all ages, Journey babies all the way through Journey students. And we just love doing life together, and we'd love for you to get connected with us. Thanks for joining us today. I wanted to close with this thought. One thing that we learned through the hurricanes that we've served in as a church is that if we're busy rescuing others, that Jesus will be busy rescuing us. And that's our great hope. Be busy rescuing somebody else and know that the Lord would be busy rescuing you, and he never fails. So on behalf of everybody here at Journey, thanks so much for joining us today, and we'll see you next week on Stories I Didn't Get to Tell Last Sunday.